Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. On the evening of March 22nd, 2014, Raphael, an OG member of South Los, hosted a meeting of the gang at his home, which was on 104th Street and Normandy Avenue. David, a member of that gang, attended the meeting. Also present were Gabriel and Fernando. Fernando and Gabriel drove to the meeting in Gabriel's truck. Gabriel brought several cases of beer to the meeting. During the meeting, Gabriel alternated between drinking beer and snorting lines of coke. When they ran out of coke, Gabriel asked for more, and someone else said, "Let's go buy some." Gabriel and another member of South Los named Creeper contributed money for the coke. Creeper invited David, who was related to him by marriage, to go with them. When Gabriel was driving, the three men went in the truck to an area controlled by the Broadway Crips, which was near 109th and 110th Street in Broadway. When they didn't see any drug dealers in the area, Creeper directed Gabriel to go to a mini-mart at Vermont Avenue and 120th Street. That's in the Denver Lane Bloods territory. There they found a man only referred to by his last name in the case as Charles. He was a member of the Denver Lane Bloods. He was with a woman named Marie Smith, also known on the streets as Ladybug. She was also from Denver Lane. Charles had a gun in his lap, and he was driving a Charger. Gabriel later testified the following events. Creeper asked Charles if he could get them some coke. Charles said he could and that they should follow him. They drove their cars to a nearby apartment building on Figueroa Street and 120th Street. When they arrived at the location, Gabriel handed David $50 to purchase the coke. David exited the truck and followed Charles, who was with Marie. He followed him to a driveway of the apartment building, and upon reaching a blind spot in the back of the apartments, Charles asked for the money. When David gave him the money, Charles pulled out a gun. David was upset that he was being robbed, so he ran back to the truck, and he told Gabriel and Creeper he just robbed me for the money. They stated, "Well, we're going to go back to the house, and we're going to go get a gun, and we're going to go get our money back." David later stated after they drove back to Raphael's house, he went inside and obtained a chrome 9mm, and that getting the gun was to get the money back or the dope. After David returned to the truck, the three men proceeded to the apartment building at Figueroa and 120th Street. They were looking for Charles and Marie. When they could not find them there, they drove to a liquor store for more beer. As they entered the parking lot at the location, they saw that Charger, but were not sure it was the same color as the one that Charles had been driving. Gabriel pulled into the space next to the Charger. He backed out and reversed into the same space. The Charger was parked with the front end first, while the truck was parked with the rear end first. David, who was sitting in the rear passenger seat of the truck, was positioned next to the passenger seat of the Charger. David said they waited in the truck until Charles and Marie and another woman exited the liquor store. When Marie was about 2 or 3 feet from the passenger side of the door, David got out of the truck with a gun in his hand. He pointed his gun right away at Charles, who was near the hood of the Charger. David said, "What's going on with the money?" Charles replied, "Fuck you, I ain't got shit." As Charles walked towards the driver door of the Charger, Charles reportedly reached for his waistband for his gun. David then aimed at Charles, but he shot Marie. David stated that he thought he was going to get shot. He explained that he was not trying to kill Charles, but was trying to shoot at him through the car window. David tried to fire the gun a second time, but stated it jammed, and he did not try to fire a third time. As they drove away, they saw a police vehicle, and David tossed the gun out the window. David later testified that he did not know until he was interviewed by the police that he had shot a woman. He denied telling his homies I shot her. At trial, according to Creeper, he did not get out the truck at the liquor store. Gabriel testified that he got out of the truck with David and spoke with Charles. Gabriel assumed from the manner in which David and Charles spoke to each other, they were friends and that they knew each other. Gabriel said when they first initially met, that Charles and Marie said they were from the Denver Lane Bloods, which at the time was on friendly terms with South Los. In his testimony, Gabriel recounted that David's statement that Charles put out a gun and that he later took his money. Gabriel entered an agreement to testify, and in return for his cooperation, he received a 13-year sentence for voluntary manslaughter. Gabriel testified that after the shooting, David told everyone at the house that he shot the bitch and that he threw the gun out and that he knew where it landed. There was conflicting testimony to whether David committed the shooting from inside the truck, which Gabriel testified was the case, or outside the truck, as David testified. David stated that Gabriel lied the whole trial. Either way, David was still sentenced to 80 years to life. Sometimes when you do bad to others, karma may not strike you, but maybe someone you love. And that was the case in this unfortunate story. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, hype, comment, and subscribe.